Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to talk to you because you can paint a really clear picture of what life is like on the front line. And these statistics we're looking at, the number of people in hospital with flu has jumped by 40% in the last week. I mean, they're seriously ill, but are you seeing this kind of thing in your GP surgery as well?
Definitely. I think over the last month, we've all really felt it. It's really evident from the people coming in. They're really unwell. Kids in particular, constant infections, constant flu-like infections, runny noses, RSV. You know, we're worried a lot about RSV as well in children. And then, of course, lots of COVID tests being done because people are getting those symptoms like maybe a cough or a cold or flu-like muscle aching and things like that. So it's a lot of what we're seeing at the moment.
In terms of the children that you're seeing, is that because there's not an immunity to this strain of flu, or what's going on exactly?
Yeah, that's exactly what we think's happened. The lockdowns, COVID, we've basically had children not being exposed to these viruses. We didn't really have a big flu problem last year, but it's hit us now because everything has opened up. As the temperature drops and winter arrives, all of these winter viruses start to circulate, and we're spending more time indoors where all of these contagious viruses love to spread between each other. And so it's really important for our kids to be in school, but by being around other children with snots and, you know, runny noses and things, it's bound to happen. They're going to get ill.
Now, but parents are being urged to get their children vaccinated, to get the flu nasal vaccination. Why do you think not enough are? Do you get a sense perhaps there's a bit of almost vaccine fatigue after a couple of years where we've had to do this?
It's a really good question, and I think it's a really important thing to talk about because the flu vaccine is really important for children. Children do have the potential to become very, very unwell with flu. And I think people are bored of vaccines. In London, we had the polio extra dose being rolled out to children. We've had multiple COVID vaccinations. Children have multiple immunisations anyway as part of their NHS routine schedule. So I do think parents are just thinking, oh, do I have to? They've already been unwell this season. They've got another virus already. But we don't know whether that was flu. They could still catch flu. And some children can become really, really unwell. I've personally sent 3 children in the last month to A&E by ambulance. That is not normal for me to have in the last month.
And you know, you mentioned there A&E, and earlier in the programme we talked about A&E waiting times and ambulance times, and I suppose from your GP perspective, what about your colleagues further across the NHS and in A&E and elsewhere? How concerned are you about what this winter is going to look like when you throw strikes into that as well?
It's a real desperate situation, and I think we knew this was going to happen. We knew that this was predicted to be one of the worst winters we've felt. Bed capacity is already higher than it was last year. We've got a problem with discharging patients from hospital into safe social placements. A&E waiting times terrible. That has a backlog on us as well. Our waiting times aren't great, so the whole system is failing. So, I mean, everyone is struggling. Absences of staff because they're unwell or burnt out because of the workload is going to have a greater impact on the care that we're able to deliver.
Just briefly then, Natalie, what do you say then to people, parents or older people, if they're thinking, I can't go to the surgery because this is just too overwhelmed? Are you worried that people might stay away from health services?
Absolutely. I had a gentleman that I saw today who, a week ago, I'd advised to go to A&E because I felt that they needed something dealt with. Waited for 6.5 hours, decided, I'm not going to see anyone, I can't wait here anymore, I've got no food, I'm going to go home. Saw him today, severe infection of what I was worried about would happen if that sort of wound didn't get seen to. So these things are going to happen. We just have to urge people to speak to us when they're unwell, and we'll be able to direct on.
OK, Dr. Natalie Rout, always good to